Welcome to Life Fit and Love. In this episode, we discuss 14 common bad habits that can silently harm your heart over time. From poor diet choices to sedentary lifestyles, we explore how these everyday behaviors can increase the risk of heart disease. We'll also offer practical tips on how to break these habits and protect your heart for the long term. Tune in to learn how small changes can make a big difference in maintaining a healthy, strong heart.
Ever glance at a heart-healthy label at the store and think, really? How much did they pay for that stamp?
Yeah.
Well, get ready to rethink some common assumptions, because this deep dive is all about those sneaky habits that could be harming your heart without you even realizing it. We're talking 14 habits to unpack.
14. It's wild.
Team.
How we often fixate on the positive actions for a healthy heart, eat this, exercise that.
Right.
But we completely overlook the seemingly harmless habits that can quietly sabotage our efforts over time.
What's it trying to fill a bathtub with the drain open? Right.
Exactly.
And you won't believe what habit kicks off this list. Believing food labels. Apparently, those heart-healthy claims can be seriously misleading.
Yeah, one of the biggest culprits is hiding in plain sight. Industrial seed oils. Think corn oil, soybean oil, those kinds of things.
Okay, I confess those are staples in my pantry. What's the big deal with them?
Well, they're often loaded with omega-6 fatty acids.
Okay.
Now, omega-6s aren't inherently bad,
Right.
but in excess, and we're talking gallons consumed per person, each year, they can tip the balance toward inflammation in the body
Oh, wow.
and chronic inflammation. That's playing with fire when it comes to heart health.
So that heart-healthy label on that bottle of corn oil, for example, might actually be a red flag.
It's not just the oils themselves, it's the company they keep. These oils are often paired with added sugars and refined starches in processed foods.
Oh.
A triple threat to your cardiovascular system.
Okay, I'm officially side-eyeing my morning cereal now. And get this, the next habit on the list is about getting enough sunshine. Seems like a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
But turns out there's a twist.
Right, because while we know excessive sun exposure can be harmful, moderate sun exposure is vital for our bodies to produce vitamin D.
Right.
And recent studies have revealed a surprising link between vitamin D deficiency and an increased risk of heart attack.
Wait, back up. So dodging the sun could be worse for my heart.
Yeah.
That feels counterintuitive.
It's all about balance, right?
Right.
Vitamin D plays a crucial role in regulating blood pressure, helping our bodies absorb calcium,
Yeah.
both essential for a healthy cardiovascular system.
Sure.
So while you don't want to be baking in the sun all day, moderate protected sun exposure can actually be a heart-healthy habit.
Mind blow. It's like everything in moderation, huh? Even sunshine. Now, this next one hits close to home, especially for those of us glued to our desks all day. We're talking about the dangers of a sedentary lifestyle.
And this is a big one. One study found a staggering 147% increased risk of heart disease in individuals with sedentary lifestyles.
Wow.
That's not just a nudge, it's a blaring siren.
147%. Okay, I knew sitting all day wasn't great, but I had no idea it was that bad.
It goes beyond just the lack of physical activity, although that's a major factor.
Yeah.
A sedentary lifestyle creates this domino effect within your body.
Right.
From how your body processes glucose to the increased risk of developing other conditions like obesity and type 2 diabetes, it's a slippery slope toward heart disease.
So it's not just about fitting into those genes, right?
Right.
It's about protecting your heart for the long haul. Which brings us to another habit many people don't associate with heart health medications.
Medications, yeah.
Now, before anyone freaks out,
Yes.
we're not saying to toss your prescriptions.
Yo.
It's important to emphasize that we're not suggesting you stop taking prescribed medications.
Right.
However, it's crucial to be mindful of potential side effects and to have open and honest conversations with your doctor about them.
Yes. Talk to your doctor.
It's all about being proactive with your health, right? Speaking of proactive, this next habit is a late-night offender that could be sabotaging your heart health while you sleep.
While you sleep.
We're digging into the surprising consequences of the late-night snack.
We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
That late night craving hits, and suddenly a bowl of ice cream is calling your name. But while it might seem like a harmless indulgence, it could be doing more than just expanding your waistline. It could be quietly impacting your heart health.
Seriously. I've always heard the whole metabolism slows down at night thing,
Right.
but I never connected it to my heart. How does that even work?
Well, When we sleep, our bodies should be in recovery mode,
Oh,
focusing on repair and regeneration,
right.
including burning fat.
Mm-hmm.
But when we introduce a late-night snack, especially one high in carbs or sugar, we disrupt this natural process.
So those cookies are basically telling my body to pump the brakes on fat burning.
Precisely. And to add insult to injury, late-night snacking can also interfere with the production of growth hormone, which naturally peaks while we sleep.
Oh, wow.
Growth hormone plays a vital role in fat burning and cell repair.
Mm-hmm.
So we miss out on those benefits when we snack before bed.
Okay, that settles it. No more midnight fridge raids for me. This next habit seemed completely counterintuitive at first.
Yeah.
It turns out there's a right and wrong way to approach drinking water
Okay.
and maintaining a low-salt diet.
Right, because you'd think that staying hydrated and cutting back on sodium would be a surefire win for your heart, wouldn't you? But as with many things in health, it's all about finding the right balance.
Okay.
When you drink excessive amounts of water, especially while restricting salt intake, you risk diluting the sodium levels in your blood.
Okay.
This can lead to a condition called hyponatremia.
Hyponatremia. That rings a bell. It's dangerous, right?
It can be. Hyponatremia, or low sodium in the blood, can lead to a cascade of health problems, including heart complications, swelling in the brain, and even seizures.
Okay. That's definitely not the outcome I'm looking for. So what's the solution if you need to watch your salt intake?
Well,
Should you start, mainlining salt shakers?
no, not
Oh.
quite.
Okay.
Instead of drastically reducing your sodium, focus on increasing your potassium intake.
Okay.
Potassium is like sodium's balancing partner.
Right.
It helps counteract some of sodium's negative effects and can actually protect against certain heart risks.
Potassium to the rescue.
Yeah.
This next one might make you want to book a dentist appointment ASAP.
Oh, no.
Apparently, there's a surprising link between dental health, or rather poor dental health, and heart health.
It might sound strange at first, but there's a growing body of evidence suggesting that neglecting your pearly whites could be doing more than just harming your smile. It could be impacting your heart.
Okay, I'm all ears. Break it down for me. How are our mouths connected to our hearts?
Well, remember how we talked about inflammation being a major player in heart health?
Right.
Well, gum disease, which is an infection of the gums, can lead to chronic inflammation in the mouth.
Right.
And this inflammation doesn't always stay put. It can actually spread throughout the body, including the heart, through the bloodstream.
So neglecting my flossing routine could actually have consequences for my heart.
It could, yeah.
That's wild.
It's a powerful reminder that everything in our bodies is connected.
Yeah.
And speaking of connections, the next habit on the list is something we do automatically, often without a second thought, breathing. But as it turns out, there's a right way and a wrong way to breathe, especially when it comes to our heart health.
Okay.
We're talking about mouth breathing, particularly at night.
This one threw me for a loop. Isn't all breathing created equal? What difference does it make if I'm breathing through my nose or my mouth?
You'd be surprised. It's all about this fascinating physiological phenomenon called the Bohr effect.
The what?
The Bohr effect.
Okay.
Essentially, for the oxygen we breathe to be effectively delivered to our tissues, we need a certain level of carbon dioxide in our blood.
Okay, that makes sense. But how does mouth breathing play into that?
When we breathe through our mouths, especially during sleep, we tend to exhale more carbon dioxide than we should,
Okay.
disrupting that delicate balance required for efficient oxygen delivery.
Right.
This can potentially put extra stress on your heart.
So even though it might feel like I'm getting more air when I breathe through my mouth, I could be shortchanging my body of oxygen in the process.
That's the gist of it, yeah. Nose breathing helps maintain that crucial carbon dioxide balance, which in turn allows for better oxygen absorption and potentially reduces strain on your heart.
The Bohr effect. Wow. Definitely filing that one away for future trivia nights.
All right, listeners, remember those microplastics we thought were just polluting our oceans? Well, buckle up, because this next one is a bit of a wake-up call. It turns out they've infiltrated our food chain, and our hearts might be caught in the crosshairs. Microplastics, they're those tiny particles, and we've heard so much about them.
Yeah.
And they're not just an ocean problem anymore.
Right.
It turns out they've infiltrated our food and water supply.
And they're even ending up in our bloodstreams.
It's a relatively new area of research.
Right.
But there's growing concern that these microplastics could be impacting our cardiovascular systems.
Okay, before we dive into the how, let's talk about the what. How are we even consuming microplastics in the first place?
Well, you might be surprised to learn that they're practically everywhere.
Oh, no.
They leach from plastic containers, especially when heated,
Right?
and they find their way into our tap water, our bottled water.
Wow.
Even the soil we use to grow our food can become contaminated with these tiny particles,
Okay.
which then, of course, make their way into our food supply.
So these microplastics are like hitching a ride into our bodies without us even realizing it?
Pretty much.
What kind of an effect are they having on our hearts once they get there?
Well, research suggests that microplastics can trigger inflammation throughout the body, including in the heart and blood vessels.
Okay.
And as we've discussed, chronic inflammation is a significant risk factor for heart disease.
Right.
There's also concern that microplastics may interfere with the endocrine system,
Okay.
potentially disrupting hormone balance,
Right.
which can also impact cardiovascular health.
It's amazing how something so small can potentially have such a big impact on our health. Speaking of things that can have a big impact, let's move on to a habit that we typically associate with good heart health. But as it turns out, there's a right way and a wrong way to approach it.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about exercise, specifically overdoing it on cardio without adequate rest.
Yes. You'd think that when it comes to exercise, more is always better, especially for heart health.
Yeah.
But pushing yourself too hard, particularly with continuous high-intensity cardio, can actually backfire.
Really? I've always considered cardio to be the gold standard for a healthy heart.
It certainly has its benefits,
Mm-hmm.
but overdoing it can put a strain on your heart.
Okay.
It's all about striking a balance between challenging your body and giving it adequate time to recover and rebuild.
So how much cardio is too much? How can you tell if you're pushing yourself beyond your limits?
Well, it's essential to listen to your body's cues.
Right.
If you're consistently feeling burnt out, experiencing prolonged muscle soreness, or noticing changes in your heart rate,
Okay.
it might be a sign that you need to scale back and prioritize rest and recovery.
Great advice. Now, for our next habit, it might seem like a no-brainer when it comes to protecting your heart, but it's worth reiterating because it's such a significant risk factor for heart disease secondhand smoke.
Absolutely. We often focus on the dangers of smoking for smokers themselves,
Right.
but even breathing in someone else's smoke, even briefly, can harm your heart.
We all know smoking is bad for you, but it's easy to forget that secondhand smoke can be just as dangerous. What exactly happens in the body when you breathe in secondhand smoke?
Well, when you breathe in secondhand smoke, you're exposing your body to the same toxic chemicals found in firsthand smoke.
Right.
We're talking about nicotine, carbon monoxide, and countless other carcinogens.
Right.
These harmful substances damage blood vessels, increase blood pressure, and can lead to plaque buildup in the arteries, all major risk factors for heart disease.
It's a good reminder that protecting your heart health isn't just about the choices we make, but also being mindful of our surroundings and minimizing exposure to harmful substances, even if they stem from someone else's actions. And finally, we wrap up our deep dive into surprising heart health hazards by circling back to our diets, specifically the overconsumption of refined foods and its impact on heart health. We've talked about those sneaky seed oils and added sugars,
Right.
but it's not just about what we're putting into our bodies, it's also about what we might be missing.
Precisely. And one often overlooked nutrient that plays a vital role in heart health is magnesium.
Magnesium, I know it's crucial for things like muscle function and sleep,
Yes.
but I didn't realize it played such a crucial role in heart health. What's the connection?
Well, magnesium is like a busy bee, involved in over 300 enzymatic processes in the body.
Wow.
This includes processes that regulate heart rhythm, blood pressure, and blood sugar levels.
Right.
It even helps prevent calcium buildup in the arteries, which can lead to hardening and narrowing of the arteries, a condition known as atherosclerosis.
So not getting enough magnesium could be contributing to a whole host of heart problems.
Exactly. And unfortunately, many people fall short on this vital mineral because of diets heavy in processed foods, which are often stripped of their naturally occurring magnesium.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. It seems that maintaining a healthy heart goes beyond just diet and exercise. It's about being mindful of even the smallest habits that can make a big difference over time. If you could pick just one habit from this list of focus on improving, which one resonated most with you and why? Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the fascinating world around us.